Everyone treats summer like it owes you happiness. Long days, pool parties, your best life on a loop. So what does it mean when you feel worse? The summer blues are real. It's why summer is one of the busiest stretches of the year for people starting therapy. Therapy is not only for when you're in crisis. Growth therapy is for all the moments when you decide you want more. More support, more clarity, more tools. Mental health isn't a destination you reach. It's something you build, and Grow makes that easier. Grow connects you with thousands of high-quality licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. The therapist you want takes your insurance on Grow. Grow accepts over 125 insurance plans. Sessions average $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/booknow today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/booknow. growtherapy.com/booknow. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.
Welcome to True Crime to Go. What can I get for you?
I'm middle-aged, so, you ever just sit around and think about the ways that we caught Hitler,
Pull up to the second window and we'll see you next crime.
Welcome to True Crime to Go. I am John, here with Jamie. I was trying to order some barbecue. I didn't have time to get to it.
You had a lot going on there. I mean, was the middle age and Hitler related? Do only middle-aged people think about World War II?
I had the saying in my mind that, you reach a certain age where you have to either decide between getting really good at smoking meat or knowing a lot about World War II history.
I feel like
I chose both.
I was going to say, you chose the wrong one. No, it's this is a fascinating topic. I love any stories, any story we've ever covered about a spy or somebody that double crossed their country. Like that's my cup of tea. But you're also a big war guy. You love war movies. You only watch war movies and cartoons.
Yeah.
So it's
only cartoons about war,
right? It's a really, really niche concept, but this is Operation Mincemeat. I honestly don't even know what mincemeat is, if I can be honest with you.
Well, don't worry about it because I'm almost certain it's not what we're going to be talking about today.
Fair enough.
So think about the time. It is September 1939. All is somewhat peaceful, at least over in America, but things in Europe are deteriorating pretty quick. So September 1939, shortly after the outbreak of war, Rear Admiral John Godfrey, the director of Naval Intelligence, circulated the document known as the Trout Memo, and it compared wartime deception to fly fishing and listed possible schemes. One suggestion, believed to have been influenced by Godfrey's assistant lieutenant commander Ian Fleming, proposed planting misleading documents on a corpse that would be found by the enemy. So this is like a work of art. This is like a book, but this idea was actually going to be used by military.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. And looking at our history, our nation has some very badly failed ideas. I think we tried to put listening devices inside of cats to spy on Russia at one point, and then the cats died.
Well,
so we didn't really get anything.
Cats are evil. I get it.
They probably sided with Russia. They were double agents. But the idea of using a corpse to plant false information isn't entirely new. Similar techniques, sometimes called the haversack ruse, had been used in earlier wars. In late 1942, an Allied forces group prepared for the next phase of the war in the Mediterranean, and they revived this concept and said, you know what? I heard about this thing once. I think we should give it a shot.
So following the Allied success in North Africa, planners selected Sicily as the next target. So the invasion codenamed Operation Husky was scheduled for July 1943. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, which, golly, that is a dude you should go look up, and others recognized that Sicily was an obvious choice. In order to divert attention from Germany, there was a deception plan called Operation Barclay, was developed to suggest that the Allies intended to strike Greece and the Balkans instead.
Can I just call out and ask if Operation Husky was also what your mom called school shopping for you?
Oh my God.
In September of 1942, an aircraft crashed off a Spanish...
Hold on. I got to talk to you about this. Did I tell you that I got in a fight because a kid called me Husky?
No.
And my mom was a substitute teacher that day?
Wow.
So yes, she knew that was a sensitive word for me.
Was it a kid or was it a cashier at...
It was a kid.
At Gordman's. 1942 in September, an aircraft crashed off the Spanish coast, provided an unexpected insight. A British courier carrying sensitive documents washed ashore. Spanish authorities recovered the body and papers, and some material obviously reached German intelligence. This confirmed that Spain, though officially neutral, I put that in air quotes, was a viable channel for information to reach the Germans. Were they pro-Germany? Maybe or maybe not, but this showed that they couldn't be trusted.
Well, they were almost like Switzerland, completely neutral, but I think you can see where their favors lied, right? Flight Lieutenant Charles Gromley of MI5 proposed a refined version of the corpse plan, initially called Trojan Horse. The 20 committee group, which oversaw double agent operations, assigned Naval Intelligence Officer Montague to develop it further with Chumley. The operation was later renamed Mincemeat.
Yeah, mincemeat, as it turns out, because I looked it up, is raw meat finely chopped or passed through a grinder. So it's basically beef that's grounded up. Montague consulted pathologist Sir Bernard Spilsbury about the practicalities of using a body that would appear to have died in an air or a sea accident. Because if you put somebody who's been dead for a month in this situation, I think they're going to get suspicious about, oh, was this really somebody in this plane? Why? Like, they're trying to make it look natural. Spilsbury advised that a post-mortem in Spain was unlikely to be thorough and that various causes of death could be made to look plausible after time in the water. So he's basically saying Spain's not going to look at that closely. There are a lot of things that can kill him, so I think we're good here.
Yeah, I think they finally landed on, let's pick someone who's died of pneumonia because there's going to be fluid in the lungs and that's going to look like it was a shipwreck. So I don't know. I feel like, just to summarize where we are so far, the Allied forces want to get Hitler thinking they're going into this one area when actually they're going into the other. They get a plan where they're going to plant fake evidence on a corpse and leave it there, knowing that Spain will take this evidence to Germany, and boy, were they right. Let's take a break, and we will come back for the second half of Operation Mincemeat. On January 28, 1943, London coroner Bentley Purchase, which is a great name for someone who's being used to secure a dead body for you.
Right.
He informed Montague that a suitable body has become available, and it was the body of a Welsh man, Glyndwr Michael, maybe is how you say it. This was a Welsh homeless man who had died after ingesting rat poison containing phosphorus. So Purchase agreed to keep the body refrigerated and available for a limited period. It ended up being a few months.
Yeah, that's tough to be just a body that they're going to use as a tool is a little crass, but I get you're trying to win a war. Concessions maybe need to be made. British intelligence created an elaborate false identity. He became Captain William Martin of the Royal Marines. A full personal history was invented, complete with identity documents, a photograph of a fictional fiancée named Pam, theater stub tickets, letters, keys, cigarettes, and everyday items known as wallet litter. So they created a complete backstory. It's not just that they're going to find this dead body. If intelligence in Germany wants to find out, is this guy legit, they're going to find evidence that he is.
So a little backstory. So this fiance named Pam, they actually had to take pictures of women who are like take pictures, not them physically take pictures, but they sent out a request saying, hey, submit your pictures to be used for this identity. This was like, I guess, an internal memo that went out.
Okay.
So Pam, quote unquote,
Pam Beasley,
submitted hers. It was selected. She was in the Army. She was a secretary in the Army. But she even would write letters, like love letters, to this fake officer, and she would write them to another Army officer. And then he would write back. So these letters were used. Funny enough, while they were both really married, they actually fell in love with each other and started an affair because of this whole operation. That's a little backstory, little bonus for you.
Can't believe she cheated on William Martin, you know?
Yeah. So the critical documents were carefully crafted letters, one from a senior British general to another, and they indicated that the Allies planned to invade Greece and Sandria, with Sicily presented only as a diversion. Another letter contained a joke about sardines intended to reinforce the idea of an attack on Sandria. The papers were planned or placed in a briefcase attached to the body. Is this plan actually going to work?
I mean, I think the fact that we know what happened means that it may have. In April of 1943, they transported the prepared body in a special steel canister packed with dry ice from London to Scotland. On April 19th, the canister was loaded aboard the submarine HMS Seraph. After a voyage of about 10 days, the Seraph reached a position roughly 1 mile off the coast of Huelva in southern Spain. And in the early hours of April 30th, 1943, the body was released into the sea.
It's interesting. They put this body in a submarine. Only one person on board knew what was happening.
Oh,
and
wow.
That was the submarine captain.
I like that. I like keeping it close to the vest, you know?
Yeah. So a Spanish fisherman found the body later that morning. Spanish officials recovered the briefcase, examined the documents. Copies were shared with the German, the German officials. The originals were eventually returned to the British, and forensic examination confirmed the papers had been opened and read. Can you ask me how forensic would know that?
Do you want me to ask you? How would they know that, John?
They placed an eyelash in the folded piece of paper, and they knew that if it was returned to them with that eyelash in there, the Germans had not seen it. If it was returned and it was not there, the Germans had seen it. That was how we did forensics in the 1940s.
That makes me feel like I could be a super spy. Just this seems very simple in retrospect. So Hitler and senior German officers became convinced that Greece, the Balkans, and Sardinia were primary Allied targets because they found this memo on this body. German reinforcements, including the 1st Panzer Division and several infantry divisions, were moved toward Greece and away from Sicily, just like the Allies wanted them to be.
On the night of July 9th and 10th, 1943, Allied forces launched Operation Husky. The invasion of Sicily. More than 150,000 troops, supported by thousands of ships and aircraft, landed. Because German defenses on Sicily had been weakened by the redeployment of forces, the island was captured more quickly and with way lower casualties than the Allied planners had originally expected. Germany moved, I think, 950,000 troops out of Sicily because of this operation.
It just blows my mind that troops in these numbers exist, because we always talk about this, even in the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, how many people died. Like, the biggest group I've been in was at a football game of like 100,000 people. but you have like battles of that many people being in one place. It's just wild to me.
Yeah.
The British intelligence later assessed that the Germans had accepted the deception completely. A message was sent to Churchill that reported mincemeat swallowed rod, line and sinker, which I guess goes back to the idea of the fly fishing
It goes
analogy.
back to trout. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a very successful campaign. It was a very successful operation. After the war, the true identity of the body, Glendor Michael, remained secret for many years. Montague published an account of the operation in 1953 under the title The Man Who Never Was. This story has since been adapted into books, films, even a musical, John.
Yeah, a Broadway musical. I asked my son if he'd ever heard of this story, and he's like, yeah, Dad, there's a musical called that. I was like, well, the story is real. Stop listening to musicals.
Let's
How I talk to my kids.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, I'm not familiar with that one, but this is a great example of, I guess, collective espionage. We've covered individuals that are trading information. We interviewed Robin from the FBI several months ago about his role in collecting information from other countries and providing information to other countries. And I think we don't often think about planning these falsehoods, but obviously it made a huge difference in World War II, or else our world may look a little different.
So remember that the body belonged to a homeless man who had somehow ingested rat poison. They think it was on purpose and it was suicide.
Or I hope they didn't kill him for this.
I mean, they had to find someone who died in a way that their lungs were impacted with fluid and that was also the same age of a normal soldier. So yeah, very, very wild. But later he was eventually interred. Is that how you say buried in a fancy way?
No idea.
But with full military honors. So as far as I'm aware, this is it's kind of a unique situation with his funeral too. The first non-service member maybe that has been buried with full military honors.
He's a hero in some ways to be able to utilize him to have this huge impact on.
And he'll never know about it.
Global war. No, we'll never know. But we do now, thanks to those stories being written, and that's why we do this, John. We like to tell stories so people are informed on how to stay safe, make good decisions, but also, I don't know, you're aware of the things that came before you so you can better prepare for the things in front of you.
To put a criminal spin on this, certainly no crimes were committed, but should this be a crime? Like, can the government just take anybody's body it wants to be used for covert operations? And should this man's next of kin somehow been compensated for his heroics? Maybe? I don't know. I feel like there's a crime in there somewhere, but there's a all is fair in love and war situation.
I've heard that. I definitely have heard that. Guys, we really appreciate you hanging out with us through this very unique True Crime to Go. John, thanks for bringing this story to us, and we'll continue to bring these, more fun stories to you here on True Crime to Go each and every week. That's been one crime story brought to you in 20 minutes or less.
Would you like crime with that?
You've listened to True Crimecast, distributed by Stoveleg Media. Check out stoveleg.com to find out more about your hosts and to find other podcasts to listen to. Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.